my background is the pharmacy. So I studied pharmacy in Geneva, and like 8 years ago, when I moved from Geneva to Zurich after I finished my school, I started in the pharmacy, and I realized it was not for me. So I wanted to step in the pharmaceutical industry, but it was very hard because I didn't have any connection. And then I started to read some books, to also typical books for women development and so on. And one of those books was Career Advice for Ambitious Women from Mrs. Moneypenny. And one of the chapter is titled, Who You Know is More Important Than What You Know. And this was like impressed me a lot because I was very young and absolutely new in a city, and I know no one. And in this chapter, she told that every woman should join a network, a professional network, especially a women network, to develop the professional network. And I Googled it. And the first that came out was a professional women's group of Zurich. So I went there for a couple of times, and at the beginning I was like, yes, I don't get really the whole fuzz about the networking. But then the more I was there, the more I met interesting women. And I was so young. For me, it was like every woman was a senior, and I was delighted because everyone gave me advice and so on. And slowly I felt like, this makes sense, this networking. And then once I noticed that they were looking for a volunteer for communication, and I told me, why not? I mean, my background has nothing to do with communication, but maybe I can learn something. And I jumped in the committee as a volunteer, but then 1 month after, the event manager fell out for a personal problem, and I took over, really like, okay, I can help you for 1 or 2 events. And event management was absolutely not my skills as well. And I liked it a lot. And then like that, I end up in the committee, and I took over the event management role for 4 years. And it was one of the best decisions I have ever made, because I mean, the book from a starter, and then volunteering, and then coming in the committee. I mean, the professional women's group had given me so much in terms of skills and development that I recommend to everyone to do the same in a way or another. And the thing that actually inspired me the most is because we are a group of women helping other women. And it's something that sometimes we need to be like very conscious about, the fact that we are, in a way, there is some bias that we cannot challenge if we are not aware of the biases. And in a professional women's group where you all have all women, you understand, yes, when the recruitment is like that and so on. And slowly you grow your consciousness that women need a little bit more help than men in terms of professional development.
Yeah, and it's such an inspiring story, and really resonates with me and the sort of Driven One values, which is very much, give it a go, just follow the path. Don't worry if you don't know all the details, because very often women don't take the opportunities because they are insecure if they have all the qualifications, and if they already know what it's going to mean and where it's going to take you. Whereas very often the opportunities are exactly like that. They just come your way, and you just have to jump and trust that you learn, and you always learn, and you always land in a better position, and not worry about, is this the right step? Is everything going to happen perfectly? So, yes. So that's a beautiful story.
Yes, and this was, but I have to say, the book, not only that one, but other books, and then a couple of people really helped me to make that step. Because of course, when I approached the club, I had exactly the same fear as everyone. I am not enough, I'm too young, too junior, I don't know enough people, why should I? So the whole panoply of questions that everyone takes, and also the volunteering perspective, I had no background, and so, but at the same time, I told me, you know what, if I cannot, then I will step out. And then slowly, the self-consciousness grew. So I was the more and more aware what I was not able to do. Also in the event, I realized that I didn't have so much network and so on. And I told me, okay, this is the way to grow the network. So for me, it was an amazing personal development to join the professional women's group. And that's also one of my goals for everyone that joined the club. So I really would like that most of the women coming in the club go through a personal journey that I had. It's not only about finding a new job. It was really to find better, so to find yourself better and to be more self-conscious. It's for me, it's very important. And now as a president, I really make this one of my more primary goal to make sure that when people join the club or join the committee, they really have a personal development within the club.
Yeah, and it's definitely noticing that it's a journey and it's small steps.
Yes.
So what we see at Driven Woman is very often is that the kind of blockage that you talked about, and then people are afraid to take the first step, but then the following steps don't happen either. And that's the reason why I created Driven Woman, so that there would be a process, a structure, that if you follow that, we help each other to get over those blockages and the self-doubt, and there's accountability so that the small steps actually happen. Because that's the only way that things start moving and things start changing, and that personal development and growth journey that you talked about. Can you share a little bit more about professional women's groups? What kind of your events you hold, and what are the main benefits?
So the Professional Women's Group was born as a spin-off of the American Women's Club in Zurich. So they were a group of American women that told, okay, we don't recognize ourselves there because they are mostly mom. We want something more professional. And 35 years ago, the Professional Women's Group was born in Zurich. And then it was a slow development. Then suddenly they were very successful. Then it was down. I mean, as usual, like every business. And but what makes the success that we have now, that from the beginning, the idea was to be very inclusive. So to include every kind of women. Of course, English speaker, Zurich is a German speaker, but the idea was to include every kind of professional women, from corporate to entrepreneur. And this for us is still the key core message. So every kind of professional woman can join us. It's not only about entrepreneurs. It's not only about career and corporate. With that said, it's interesting because for us it's a challenge. Every time that we organize an event or we have a program, we have to keep in mind which are our target group. And the target group is very broad. So every time that we have a new topic, so especially for the monthly meeting, so we have to make sure that it's attractive for everyone. Of course, then sometimes, because we have one big monthly event, sometimes we make specific event like entrepreneurship, innovation, or career development, job search, and so on, so that actually a specific target group is told, but only one or two. For the rest, all the topic that we have, like mentoring, work-life balance, or women dreaming themselves. So there are a lot of topics that actually doesn't matter what you are doing for a job and how you earn your money, is going to help you as a woman. And this for us is key, really, to be very inclusive and to be really an inspiration. So the monthly meeting, mostly we really try to put their speakers or panelists where people can recognize themselves and then see, okay, she did it, so I can do it as well. And this is also very important, to see role model, they are reachable. So like the neighbor, not actually the role model that are far away from the reality.
Yeah, because sometimes they can be absolutely the opposite. You get dismotivated when the gap is so large, you think, I can never be like that. And very key value that you mentioned, which is, I suppose, one of the reasons why we will be collaborating with Professional Women's Group in Zurich is the inclusivity. Mm-hmm. So also at Driven Woman, it's not based on your education or your background, or are you entrepreneur, career woman. It's based on the ambition and the willingness to step up and follow your dreams and step outside of your comfort zone and embark on that personal development journey. And of course, the way we do it, and this is very complementary to your work, is the accountability.
Yes.
So we don't do so much big events or inspirational events apart from Festival of Doers, which is of course a nice way to come and taste what Driven Woman is all about. But in our small monthly groups, it's all about committing to 5 steps before the next meeting and sharing that journey with your group, so that next time you come, they all want to know that you made that call, or you asked for the raise, or you launched your website, or whatever it is that the next step is. So it really pushes you forward. Yes. And makes you do the stuff, because that is the missing piece very often. Women, we have great ideas and we want to do these things, but sometimes actually, putting things into action is what's missing.
Yes, and I think, so what I like really a lot from the Driven Woman concept, so there are 2 points. One is the whole accountability. That means, which actually we cannot afford, because we have our core competencies, which are the event, inspiration. We have some small think tanks group. They are more action oriented, but it's more about one topic and people discuss. But we don't have that accountability group. And I like a lot, because sometimes you fix your goal, but if there is no one actually you can discuss and accountable, they will stay there and you procrastinate.
Yes.
And this is the nature of the humanity. I mean, it's not like very kidding, even me, everyone procrastinates. But when you are part of a group, then this is less so probable that actually you procrastination. And the second that I like a lot is the fact that actually there are women together with different projects sitting. So this is very nice, because not only, so we have also a group which is the think tank, where people sit together and someone come with a project and everyone brainstorm for that person for 20 minutes. And this is a unique opportunity to have a brainstorming session with people that have no clue about your business and maybe have just a completely different background. So you have the best insights, because they are completely out of the blue sometimes. But then we don't have the next step like you have. But what we like on those think tanks, Idea Generator, is exactly that, the diversity, when people sit together with different projects and everyone can bring on the table an idea for you that you never thought. And this is very nice also in Driven Women. So the fact that the group is diverse and they still are together, but everyone contributes also for you.
Yes.
Very nice.
And because very often we get, when members start, they say, I don't actually know what I want, but I know that it's not what I do now, or what I have now is not it. I know it's something else, but I don't know what it is. So I just received a beautiful email from one member since 4 years ago, and she's now like, okay, I would have never come to this. She's now a property investor. And when she joined, she said, I had no clue what I wanted. I just knew that I wanted to go some different direction, but I didn't know. And then she listed the people who had inspired her and from whom, because in the groups there's somebody sharing that actually this is what I'm considering and I'm going to start property investing. And then she became curious, and then she started educating herself, and it all came through the ideas that were presented in that little group. Of course, everybody then has to go and do the work and do their own investigation and then commit to their own journey. But it's those little, it basically almost like enlarges your awareness, because you wouldn't come in contact with those people in your normal life, because, normally we surround ourselves with people like us. So it's very, very enriching in that sense.
Yes, and this is also what also PWG aimed. So when we organize events with different speakers, also we attract a different kind of woman, not only the same. And when we let really a lot of space for networking, because it's our key point, not only the inspiration, but networking is so important, and do it also properly is very important. But the networking is where you can find woman which had a completely different path, and you're like, ah, wow, is that possible? And you can speak with that, and with the woman. And this is for me one of the main points when I say to people, join a networking group, because you don't know who are going to meet, and you don't know, after maybe one discussion, your eye will open and you're like, oh my God, exactly that's what I wanted. And you can only do it if you go out. So staying home is not going to help.
Yes.
And all kind of group with women is nice for that, because of course we develop in a different way than men, also in terms of family, because often in our group there are mothers and then dads, and I don't know in UK, but here is always very conservative, so men are working and then moms stay home or work less, and automatically the pressure that you have, it's completely different, because if you are not pressured to earning money because your man is doing, you take more time, but suddenly maybe a woman that are pressured to have a work and to earn money, but are not so much, so you need the diversity as well. And that's why I think it's better when at the early stage you are between women, so that actually you don't feel too much overwhelmed. But afterwards, I think also that we need to go and face the men networking as well. It's not only to be isolated between women. But
yes, we build each other up in a safe space. Exactly. And then we go out to the world when we believe in our own ideas. Exactly. That's, I think, what happens. So you need to build that strength first, and then yes, you have to go out into the world. It's not, you can't stay in the cocoon forever, but you can always come back and fill yourself up. I'd like to bring the conversation now a little bit to the theme of Festival of Doers, which is always about celebrating a different way to success. Mm-hmm. Because I think one thing that's been holding women back is that we've been chasing the masculine success. Mm-hmm. And then we've been struggling. Why doesn't it work for me? Mm-hmm. And it's very much what you said. It's a lot of people, they have families or children or other interests beyond just making money or a career. Yes. So I believe that for women, the definition of success looks slightly different mm-hmm. to, kind of the conventional way of looking at success. And that's why we need to be very clear about that. So at Festival of Doers, we always celebrate the different angles of success mm-hmm. and the backstory, so that, you don't just land here and it's all perfect, which is always how we think that other people made it. Mm-hmm. But there's always been struggle. So I'd be very interested to hear, what is your personal definition of success?
Yeah, this is, it's always difficult to go to define success. And I have to say, in this last 12 months, maybe I have developed think a lot, because many people have asked me, and I agree. So the concept of success between women and men is very different, because I think we are more an holistic approach. It's not only job is success. So for me also it's it's complex. So I have to be in equilibrium with my family. My kids have to be good. I have a good job, and I have maybe different activity in ONG. Maybe I'm not the general manager of my company, but it doesn't matter, because I feel successful because I'm feeling fine, and my kids are good, and my husband is happy. And for me, this is already the start of success. But if you think only in one way, like success is only about work, then you are going to be frustrated, I think, all your life. It's that, because even if you are working, you are never going to reach the top. You are still going to go and go and go, and if there will maybe only the frustration that you are not high enough, but if you don't include all the other aspects of your life, it makes no sense. So for me, success is really holistic approach. Yeah. Family, work, friends, other activities like ONG activities, hobby, and if everything is good, in a good equilibrium, feel happy, then it's that.
Exactly. And I think the key is to really be clear with oneself about that, and give oneself the permission to say, yeah, this is what I want. And it's slightly different than what the other person wants and what people in the magazines want and what that, successful woman over there wants. That this is what I want. And that's where we always start. So we really write it down, we share, we talk about it, and we kind of really look at it. And of course, it even evolves over time. So you need to keep updating it.
Yes.
And that's then your little steps also become more meaningful. And it's easier to get over procrastination when you know what you want. I believe personally that a lot of the procrastination comes because we haven't been clear with our definition of success. And that's, of course, a beautiful way to get to know both networks. So professional women's group of Zurich and Dream of Woman is to come to the Festival of Doers in September in Zurich. So we will both be there and sharing our definitions of success and inspiring the audience. And also, as in a very true Driven Woman style, we will be committing to some steps throughout the day. So it's been a real pleasure talking to you, Anna. Thank you very much. And yes, have a lovely summer, and we will all see you in Zurich, 14th of September.
Yes, 14th of September. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.